College head coach Matt Mumme.
There we are. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Air Raid Football Show live here from Marisol. I'm Jack Borman, joined by Coach Matt Mumme. And Coach, a great crowd here tonight. We've had a good meal from Marisol. I tell you what, folks need to come out here and enjoy the food they've got out here.
You know, if you have not been to Marisol's, it's one of the best menus in town. I mean, I swear every time I get food here, I get something different. It's always great.
It is tremendous. You're exactly right. Coach, we had a tough ball game against Ferrum this past week. 44-20 was our final. But before we get into the details of the ball game, it was a great homecoming atmosphere. I know I got out there about 10 o'clock. That Saturday morning, and they had the showmobile out there, had a DJ playing, so many people setting up things up. I tell you what, a club I was so impressed with the sports management guys. They had some really neat things going on. I think y'all had some signed jerseys, signed balls out there. Just was really impressed by the turnout of the folks to celebrate homecoming at LaGrange College.
Yeah, you know, and in the 3.5-4 years I've been here, that's the best homecoming turnout we've had. And we had a lot of ex-football players there, which was really great. I really enjoyed spending some of the morning getting to walk those guys through our facility and showing them what we've done with the locker room. And we've taken over the old music department upstairs and we've turned it into a team room. And a lot of those guys were just in awe because, 4 years ago, that thing was, it was carpet. It was really, really rough. There was a lot of issues with it.
And space was tight.
And so it's really just been one of those things that we've done each year. We've come a little bit further to where we're at right now. And I was talking to my wife earlier today about, I'm so optimistic and I want it to be great overnight.
Right.
And you look at teams like Huntington who now have won a championship. It took Mike Turk 13 years to get to that championship. Yep. And so, even though I'm like, hey, let's hurry up and fast forward and win a championship, there's steps. There's steps involved in getting us to that point. And, it's definitely still a curve for us to do. And, it's been 2.5-3 years since I've taken over, and we're still growing guys up, and we still got a ways to go.
I was thinking about, you mentioned that Huntington game, looking back as I think about that roster and, 20, 25 kids that are seniors that are playing on the field throughout the ball game. And that's a whole lot. We were talking about it, I think, right before when we were having our meal. You got 18, 19-year-old, freshmen and sophomore. They're strong, physical young men, but they're also going up against guys that are 20, 21 years old that have the physicality of 250 or plus guys. It's just that's hard to push against in a whole ball game.
Without a doubt. I mean, you got to have 2 or 3 off seasons underneath your belt to become a junior and senior starter. And that's, Mike Turk and I are good friends, and I've talked to him a lot off the, just not even, considering what it was like on game day, was just talking about, how did you get to this point? He said, well, I've got a strength coordinator that I put in place, 5 or 6 years ago, and he does a tremendous job with our off season. And I know when they go into the off season, I don't have to worry about them. And for those people out there that don't know how Division III works, is basically when football season is over, as a football coach, we're not allowed to do anything with them for the rest of the year. Yep. So if you don't have that strength coordinator that can get it done for you and that you trust, you're missing a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, because, guys will be guys, and they'll go study hard and then maybe hit the couch instead of hit the weights like they need to.
They're 18-year-olds.
Exactly. I did that a lot myself. Let's take a break. We come back. We still got lots more here to talk about here on the Matt Mumme Air Raid Football Show on Eagle Sports.
When you choose a dentist, you want to know that you made the right decision. So where do you start? Go to BellDentalCenter.com. That's the right way to begin to know Dr. Bell and his staff. And then drop in at 106 Corporate Plaza Drive in LaGrange and visit with the staff. And you'll know that this is the right place for you and your family. Bell Dental Center offers comprehensive dentistry with an emphasis on aesthetics, restorative treatments, mini dental implants, root canal therapy, sedation dentistry, as well as Botox and Juvederm treatments. Bell Dental Center. Visit their website at BellDentalCenter.com.
Where can you be encouraged to make your own discoveries? Where can you be challenged to achieve the impossible by professors who know you by name? Our graduates have earned Emmy and Grammy nominations, successfully negotiated major business deals, and been inspired to teach and serve where they're needed most. Experience a transforming education at LaGrange College, one of the South's most affordable, highly ranked institutions. Learn more at lagrange.edu/transform.
Calling all area coaches. calling all area coaches, high school coaches, travel ball coaches, and more. Mud Creek Team Sales is now selling sporting goods like Wilson, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Rollins, and Russell for travel teams, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, and more. For more information, call Mud Creek Team Sales today at 706-884-5592. Call Coach Jeter or Greg Hicks. Calling all area coaches. Mud Creek Team Sales with all your sporting goods. Wilson, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Rollins, and Russell. Mud Creek Team Sales, a proud sponsor of today's game.
Now back to the Matt Mumme Air Raid with Jack Mormon and LaGrange College head coach Matt Mumme.
Welcome back to the Matt Mumme Air Raid Football Show. I'm Jack Mormon, joined by Coach Matt Mumme. And, Coach, we were talking about homecoming this past week. We did fall to Ferrum, but you mentioned that there's many people, as big a homecoming as you can imagine. I would say we had probably about 2,000 people up in the stands. That was a great crowd for that ball game.
Yeah, it really was, and it was exciting for our guys to actually get to see that kind of crowd and the possibility of maybe kind of starting to have crowds like that in the future and be in our normal home games, especially as we start to have more success.
Yep. Well, of course, success breeds success. People turn out for those sorts of things. Right now, just locally, the high school teams, the teams that are winning, get a lot more people in the crowds than the teams that are struggling. It's just kind of a natural way it goes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, everybody wants to see you win, and you know, for our guys, you know, we definitely want to win, and we want to please the crowd and you know, give them a good show and be entertaining and all that. But, you know, again, we just got to play a little bit better than what we did Saturday.
Well, let's kind of walk into the game now. It was a ball game where Ferrum jumps up to they get a touchdown to start the ball game in their first drive. Y'all come back and answer, really. I memean, it looks like it's going to be one of those games that we've experienced throughout the season where a team scores and we come right back and we score again. In fact, it was a 14-second drive, I think, the first time y'all scored.
Really quick. One play and then touchdown. So
we're thinking, hey, this is looking good here.
Yeah, well, we're high-powered on offense, and we've been that all season, and we've been, you know, as high as averaging 51 points a game, and Huntington was a little bit of a setback for us. And really, the last 2 weeks, you know, losing the offensive lineman and playing with freshman offensive linemen has been a challenge for us. And those guys, to be honest, did a great job filling in, but, you know, it's like we talked about. They haven't had an off season, and they haven't had that opportunity to get stronger and just take on, you know, college football players. And so, you know, it probably closed down a little bit of our playbook when that happened. And, you know, so we've had to be a little more conservative than what we normally are.
You know, one of the things I noticed that Huntington did and that also Ferrum did a lot is a lot of pressure on Connor. They're bringing 2-3 guys in. They're stunning some things as well. So a lot of pressure that they brought on him in this ball game.
Yeah, and with young O-linemen, you know, other coaches, they're good coaches. They see that. They're going to go ahead and, you know, they're going to go ahead and pressure those young guys for sure.
Yep. Let's take another break. When we come back, lots more.
Car wash on Vernon Street in LaGrange. Open 8:30 to 6, Monday through Saturday. Just look for the giant gorilla at the LaGrange Car Wash.
Everywhere you look on your campus, some event is happening, and that's the way you want it. But keeping your active campus clean and looking its best isn't easy. Nonetheless, National makes it look easy. Low staff turnover and a commitment to excellence allow National to ensure your campus from top to bottom, inside and out, is always perfect and spotless. Parents and students alike give us a 4.0, and we settle for nothing less. You'll like having National on the job.
Visit us at teamnational.com to see what National can do for you.
You're listening to the Matt Mumme Air Raid with Jack Mormon and LaGrange College head coach Matt Mumme.
Welcome back. We're working through a few little technical things here. I think that the equipment wants to have some of the lemon Napoleon that you had earlier. So
I'm not going to talk about that.
He wants to enjoy some of that. But going back to, we're talking about the game against Ferrum in the first quarter. Ferrum was up 13-7. They went for a 2-point conversion that failed. And we're feeling pretty good. You know, again, the offense scores very, very quickly. Still moving the ball well, even though they are pressuring Connor quite a bit. The running game gets started a little bit. But, man, that second quarter was tough for us.
Yeah, you know, it's just one of those things, and we knew going into the game, you know, they've got the leading rusher in the conference in Brian Mann, and you know, he's tough to bring down. He's tough to get corralled. He's not one of those guys that's really all that explosive or fast. I mean, he doesn't really, wow you when you see the film, and then you get to meet him in person and play against him on the field, and our guys just really struggled to make tackles in the open field.
His lateral movement was what was so impressive to me. He'd be coming directly at you, and then he'd take one step just directly a 90-degree angle and then be gone. And it just seemed to have a great vision for the field. And also, I was really impressed by the quarterback, who was not a very big guy in the back at all. In fact, I worried about him throwing it across the middle because he couldn't see over the line. But he was pretty effective, too.
Yeah, he was. And they did a couple of things that Coach Chambers hadn't seen on film. They did a counter play that they hadn't done all year, which it seems like, a lot of teams like to do new stuff against us. And, and in talking to Coach Chambers about the game, Brian really hurt us on about 5 or 6 plays. After that, we kind of corralled him pretty good, especially in the second half. We really, we started heating him up and we started blitzing more, and that kind of took away their run game. But unfortunately, kind of the damage was done right there in the second quarter.
Yeah, in the third quarter, there was
dug ourselves a hole.
Yeah, they didn't score at all. I think defense really stepped up strongly. They did score a touchdown and a field goal in the fourth, but third quarter, I think they came out very, very strongly and played well. They had another play that they ran several times, which is almost a draw, where the quarterback and man kind of stopped together in the backfield, and then man takes it, or the quarterback would take it. And they got some pretty good yardage off that play as well.
Yeah, and what I was really proud of was at halftime, even though we were down 34-7, I told our guys, I said, look, we can score fast. Just we got to get them stopped in the second half. And I'll tell you what, our defense are really our young guys.
Mm-hmm.
We played a lot of young guys in the second half. And like I said, Coach Chambers heated them up and blitzed them a lot. And I'm proud of the way those young guys played. And a lot of these guys were freshmen. And so, we asked them to step up, and they did. And it gave us a chance offensively to try and jump back into it. The third quarter, I think right there at the end of the third quarter, we got the ball back. And it looked like we were going to have a good drive. We made a good quick throw to Marquise Levitt, who took it up the sideline for about 25, 30 yards.
Mm-hmm.
We were going to have a first down out at midfield, and they call holding on us. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was
we were wondering the same thing in the booth. What happened
didn't
there?
See it. And, you email basically what head coaches do is they look at calls that they don't agree with. They take the clip and they email it to the head of officials, on Monday, and you get it back and you get your answer. Well, the call was good or the call was bad. And Steve Fleshman said, hey, the call was bad. I'm sorry, and negated a really nice game for y'all. And really a pivotal, I told our AD, Jennifer Clayburgh, I said, the pivotal point for us.
Right.
That was the end of the third quarter. Had we had the ball 1st and 10 midfield, we probably go down and score. Now it's 14-34, and we scored 2 or 3 times in the fourth quarter. We got a game.
Yep.
So, that's tough, and that's and that's some of the stuff that my guys have had to overcome here. And it's really been the last 2.5, 3 years. And you don't like to make excuses, but the teams that win are the ones that get calls, and so you just hate to see that. You get a call that kind of affects your game, but, you got to overcome it.
Well, and at those points of the game, just like we're doing on the radio, you're trying to think about what are the options. What is my path to victory from this point? And really, late in the third, there was still a very clear path to victory. I thought that the defense had stopped them pretty much completely in the third quarter, that with just a few things going our way from onside kicks and that sort of thing and quick strikes, there was still an opportunity for us to come out of victory in that ball game.
Yeah, there really wasn't. And even late in the third quarter, I really, in the stadium and on the sidelines, I felt a momentum change.
Mm-hmm.
I really felt like the game was going our way and playing in our hands, and our offense was starting to pick up and play faster and play better. And so I really thought we were going to climb back into it, and then we get in the fourth quarter, and so we've scored a couple times, and now here you are, and the score is 20-34, and you're like, okay, well, maybe we've closed the gap, and then we just, we missed the extra point, which was a tough one because that would have made it a 2-score game, where we could have went for 2 and scored 8 and 8. It became one of those deals where we just ended up having to fight time and we ran out of time.
Yep. Let's take another break. We come back, we'll give you our players of the game from this past week and also begin to look ahead as to what's coming up in the LaGrange College schedule. But right now you're listening to the Matt Mumme Air Raid Football Show on Eagle Sports.
Great dining starts at Mare Sol on Main Street in LaGrange. Open Monday through Saturday for lunch and dinner. Locally owned and operated by Charles and Chase Hudson, who have created a fun atmosphere with delicious food for you and your family. So no matter if you're out with friends and want to visit at the bar or sit down for a family meal, Mare Sol is here for you. Mare Sol, Main Street, LaGrange, on Facebook and on the web at maresolrestaurant.com. When you choose a dentist, you want to know that you made the right decision. So where do you start? Go to BellDentalCenter.com. That's the right way to begin to know Dr. Bell and his staff. And then drop in at 106 Corporate Plaza Drive in LaGrange and visit with the staff. And you'll know that this is the right place for you and your family. Bell Dental Center offers comprehensive dentistry with an emphasis on aesthetics, restorative treatments, mini dental implants, root canal therapy, sedation dentistry, as well as Botox and Juvederm treatments. Bell Dental Center. Visit their website at BellDentalCenter.com.
Mention LaGrange College and the word one pops up a lot. Like the student-faculty ratio is 11-1. That means plenty of one-on-one time with professors. Our students work for number one companies, earn Emmy and Grammy nominations, and they give back to their communities, which is wonderful. We are LaGrange College, one of the South's most affordable, highly ranked institutions. One visit, and you'll see why. lagrange.edu/journey.
Now back to the Matt Mumme Air Raid with Jack Mormon and LaGrange College head coach Matt Mumme.
Welcome back to the Matt Mumme Air Raid Football Show live here from Marisol. Please make sure to come out here on a Monday night or a Tuesday night or really any night of the week and enjoy great food, great fun. They also have lunch specials. You can come out here and enjoy them as well. But right now we're talking about LaGrange College football. And, Coach, we had some guys that stood out in the contest that this past Saturday on the homecoming event. Let's talk about some of the guys that you've chosen as players of the game.
Yeah, so on the defensive side, like I talked about, some of these young guys that are really stepping up. Our corner is a young man by the name of Brian Oliver, and he is our BSN Defensive Player of the Week, and he has really done a tremendous job. And this is a young man that came into camp and had just fought his way from probably about 4 deep on the depth chart to now he's a starter, and he's been a starter for a couple weeks now. So he's really done a tremendous job, and we're really proud of him.
That's a big job that he's stepping into, especially as we're seeing a lot of wide open offenses that are played in USA South. So you know that those are roles that you're going to be seen. You're kind of on an island out there a lot during the ball game.
Without a doubt, and Coach Chambers is not afraid to get into man coverage a little bit, and so that puts Brian in a situation where he is one-on-one, and he's done a great job of staying with guys and keeping them covered up.
Yeah, I think Chris Guy was kind of their big guy that they kept going to this past week, and he was one-on-one with him and took him down a few times.
He did. And again, so Brian's really got a bright future. He's going to be one of these guys that's going to be a 4-year starter, and more than likely will be an all-conference selection at some point in his career if he keeps working the way he is.
A couple other guys that also kind of stood out to me on defense. I think Fabian Ryan had another great game. He's really impressed more and more each ball game this season.
Yeah, Fabian just continues to be that energy. You know, him and Kyrie Page are the two guys that bring the noise. Mm-hmm. You know, they like to talk and they like to be loud, and so when they do that, it tends to get the other guys fired up.
And Kyrie's having a ball game. He got knocked out for a little bit in the contest, and hope he'll be back for the next ball game.
We're hopeful. He's got an injury that he's got to take care of, and again, we just unfortunately the last 3 weeks we've just been plagued by injury after injury. So. But Kyrie, he's going to be one of those guys that's hard not to keep on the field, and he's going to want to play, so I'm sure he'll be ready to go.
Oh, if he can get out there, he's going to. Go to the offensive side. Coach, who did you choose as our offensive player of the game?
Yeah, our Kemp's offensive player of the week is Irvin's OG, who had 3 catches for 84 yards and a touchdown. And really with him, I mean, there's plenty of guys that I could have made offensive player of the week. Marcellus continues to do a great job, but OG had a really key, we knew we were going to have to score fast right there at the, in the fourth quarter. And so, I knew I had an opportunity to get OG loose down the middle of the field, and he did a great job. He made a great catch with the guy kind of draped over him and then shed him off and actually ran for the touchdown.
He also had another catch kind of in the middle of the field in that second half that extended the drive as well. A pretty tough catch coming across the middle. So I no doubt that he's an excellent. I think you mentioned 3 catches, 84 yards on the ball game, averaging 28 yards per catch. His longest was that 59-yard catch.
Yep.
So it's also nice to see him stepping into that leadership role again. We've seen him really since he's been at LaGrange College being kind of one of your go-to receivers. Some ball games you're able to go to him a little more than others, but it's nice to see him step up. And of course, you mentioned Marcellus. Josh Hardrick, I think, had a lot of catches in this ball game. I'll tell you what, he's a tough nut. He took some hits as he made some catches.
Yeah, and all these receivers are, they can hurt you. And that's what we've been good at it all season. It's just, the last 2 games have been tough, and it hasn't exactly shown up where we want it to, and that's in the points. So hopefully we can get back on track this week with a few of our offensive linemen being healthy now, and we're going to get to play those guys. So, we're very optimistic about that.
Let's go over to the special teams, the third triangle, part of the triangle. How about the special teams player, Coach?
Yeah, our Hutchinson Trailer special teams player of the week was Patrick Gooden, and Gooden, he's consistently been a good punter for us, and he had a couple of, Drew Lewinsky was our snapper, and really, I don't know what the deal was having issues with snapping in this game, and so he was putting them really high. So Gooden was having to come down with some big catches to get it down and then plus get the punt off. And he had one where, they had broken through, and it looked like to everybody it was going to be blocked, and Gooden found some space and actually got a pretty decent punt off. So, Gooden's been good in the receiving corps too. So I just felt like, he was the guy that deserved it.
We had to go to him several times during the ball game in some key situations, and you're right. That was actually a key part of the ball game where they could have had incredible field position had he not gotten that ball off.
Without a doubt. And I think we got him stopped after that punt too. So, had they had it right there, I think probably around our 30-yard line.
I think it was about 25 to 30 yard line.
Probably would have sealed it and not been what it looked like was going to probably be a closer game than it really was. So,
all right, congratulations to Patrick and also to the other guys. And we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what's happening next week for the Panthers. And right now you're listening to the Matt Mumme Air Raid Football Show on Eagle Sports.
Calling all area coaches, high school coaches, travel ball coaches, and more. Mud Creek Team Sales is now selling sporting goods like Wilson, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Rollins, and Russell for travel teams, football, baseball, basketball, soccer, and more. For more information, call Mud Creek Team Sales today at 706-884-5592. Call Coach Jeter or Greg Hicks. Calling all area coaches. Mud Creek Team Sales with all your sporting goods. Wilson, DeMarini, Louisville Slugger, Rollins, and Russell. Mud Creek Team Sales, a proud sponsor of today's game.
Have you eaten at Summit Grill? Well, then tomorrow is your day to enjoy some biscuits in the morning. And for lunch, grab the blue plate with 3 sides and a drink. What? You want hand-breaded fresh chicken? Summit Grill has it. Let's say you want to feed the whole crew. Large orders are no problem. Chicken with bone-in or chicken tenders, Summit Grill's got you covered. 2 locations on West Point Road next to Pegasus Parkway in LaGrange, or on State Road in West Point, Georgia, next to Frisky Whiskey. Come eat with us at Summit Grill.
I don't know about you ladies, but I love to keep my car clean. The only problem is my schedule. I just don't have time to wash it myself. But I have found the place to go. The LaGrange Car Wash on Vernon Street in LaGrange. They have great prices, and I always feel comfortable there. They do an amazing job. And if that's not enough to get you to give them a try, they also get you in and out in no time. LaGrange Car Wash on Vernon Street in LaGrange. Open 8:30 to 6, Monday through Saturday. Just look for the giant gorilla at the LaGrange Car Wash.
You're listening to the Matt Mumme Air Raid with Jack Mormon and LaGrange College head coach Matt Mumme.
Welcome back to the Matt Mumme Air Raid Football Show live here from Marisol, and hope you're having a great evening tonight, wherever you might be listening to us. And actually, if you're listening to us later in the week on the web, we appreciate you doing that, and we try to not pick our nose or anything on that broadcast. But, Coach, you've got a big game coming up against Maryville that you'll be working through, and you, of course, took a look at the film, and y'all getting those practices going. And they're right now atop the conference, and they're going to be a challenge.
Yeah, Sean Hayes took over for Mike Rader, and Mike Rader's a good friend of mine. And they've done a great job at Maryville, and really almost a spitting image of Huntington. And so, they kind of built their programs off the same ideas and, especially offense and defense and have just over the years built it up into where, Maryville's won 1 conference championship, obviously Huntington working on a second. So, Sean does a great job. They're going to be a tough foe, but our kids will get up for it. This is a big game for us. It's one of the big ones that, our guys like to play. We played a really good game up there last year and probably should have had it won, but let it slip away right at the end. A couple calls kind of hurt us, and so hopefully we'll be able to get after them this week with some of our guys getting healthy. Will be good for us and give us that good opportunity.
Well, and again, you do get up differently for a rival game than you do for a regular season. Well, of course, this is regular season, but a regular opponent because you remember, and guys you've talked to, I remember the last time we played them and then this happened, and you want a little bit, as a little extra juice to the ball game.
Yeah, in the game of football, it's everybody always wonders what it's like for coaches. There are those rivalry games, and then there's those games that when you walk in the locker room, you don't have to say anything. The guys are just going to be juiced up and ready to go. But then there's other games you're like, okay, man, are we going to be ready?
Coaches speak number 342.
I need to say something. Let me find some motivation. And it's just football. Every week you got to bring your game. Every week you can get beat. And it's just like that in the SEC. Ask Coach Smart how it's going over at Georgia. He lost to Vandy and he's lost a couple of tough ones. Any week your guys got to be ready.
You're right. Every time, Coach, we talk about this on the radio, and you and I have talked about this before, especially Division III guys. These are guys that love the game of football. They are trying to extend their football playing careers just a little bit farther by playing at a Division III school. They know that not necessarily are they going to go any further than this, but they really have a deep love for the game to want to be able to go out there and put themselves through what goes on in a grueling season.
Right. They're not getting scholarships. They're paying just like all the other young ladies and young men to go to school. And so they're truly out there because they want to be out there. And so, it is one of those things where, as a coach, you love it because you know that they're dedicated and that they're there because they want to be there, And that's the one thing I got to say about my guys is they've been resilient. The Huntington game was really tough. We wanted to win that game. We had a lot of injuries, and it was a tough game. We weren't able to probably compete like we really wanted to. But Tuesday, they came back to practice. They were ready to go.
Yeah.
And I expect them to be that way tomorrow. I know Sunday you got kind of a 24-hour period there where you can hang your head and you kind of just, lick your wounds and ice your bruises and you just move on.
Yep. Well, and that is, what is the next play? What's the next step? What's the next thing I've got to do to become prepared for this ball game? And at this point in the season, it's not about technique necessarily. It's about using your brain. How are you preparing mentally for a ball game like this?
Yep, and at 3-4, and I'll talk to the guys about this tomorrow. Is look, you got 3 games left. Just keep fighting, keep clawing. Let's try to get to 4-4. Let's try and let's knock the big one off. And if we can do that, we'll be back to 4-4, and we can still be optimistic and work towards having a winning season. And that has been our goal from the start.
Right, and you have to begin with those sorts of goals. Anything else going on this week, Coach? You want to let folks know about?
Yeah, October is obviously a huge month, and my mom had breast cancer when I was in college, and so we will be honoring all those that have lost, family or friends to breast cancer on Saturday, and then also honoring all those that have survived breast cancer. And obviously my mom is one of those, and she's been tremendous in trying to get out there and do stuff to help raise money for breast cancer. And so I think we're actually going to do a pink balloon release before the game starts in honor of all those that have been lost and who have survived. And then I think they're actually doing something again at halftime also. And a bunch of our players will probably be wearing pink too. So
that's awesome. Now, this is a home game, so we invite everybody to get out there to the stadium. We had almost 2,000 folks in the stadium this past week. Let's do that again. Let's fill it up. Let's get these guys fired up to take on a very tough Maryville team.
Yeah, make a lot of noise. Let's make it hard conditions for Maryville to come into. And I know our guys will rise up for it, and we'll be excited and be ready to play.
Sounds great. Coach, thank you so much. Folks, we thank you for listening to the Matt Mumme Air Raid Football Show right here on Eagle Sports. We hope you have a great evening. We'll see you next week on the radio.